What up? How's everybody doing out there?
Good.
Doing good. Us too. All right. Cool. Hey, folks, if you don't know Jaimie Beebe, you should. Casting director, podcast host. Jaimie, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm really great.
Good. Hey, so I kind of want to get into things because I had a bunch of interest peak, and if I don't get it out, I'm just going to forget because that's the way I am. But I wanted to ask you, being a casting director, when you go and you read a script, do you sit there and go, okay, boom, I've got Billy Bob Thornton I want to put in this part, or I got John Cusack or Bella Thorne or Taye Diggs, or do those come to mind, or do the studios have somebody, well, we want to know about this person, we want to see if this would fit or something like that? So
it's definitely a little bit of both. A lot of times the producers have people in mind, or the writer or the director. Everyone always has somebody in mind when they read the script, but so do I. And so a lot of times we'll all get together and brainstorm and talk about who we want, who we think we can get, rates for actors, who's available, that kind of thing. And that's kind of how it determines the list,
Okay, cool. Now we have something in common. Big Brother. I know. You casted Big Brother 17, if I remember correctly.
Oh gosh, I worked on it a few times. Yeah.
Nice.
Back in the day. It's been a minute.
We interviewed Big Brother contestant Sheila Kennedy roughly about a year ago now, right?
Yeah, it's been about that time, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been about a year ago. So, we got that 27 degrees of separation with What Up with Rob and Chris and Jaimie Beebe. You got to like it, huh?
That's great. I don't think I've ever actually seen or watched Big Brother.
Oh, wow. That happens.
Okay.
That happens. It's all good. I love it, though. I think that's kind of cool because you bring a fresh take on Big Brother. And as we know, all shows need a fresh take, right?
Right.
Exactly.
So sure,
Excuse my hands. As you can tell, my partner over here is kind of, flying back and forth, dodging my hands, because when I talk, being Italian, my hands just go flying everywhere. So
no worries. I got it.
Cool.
Hey, Jaimie, how did you get into this? Like, were you an actress in high school or middle school and you just loved the arts, or like, how did you kind of fall into, the TV film industry?
Well, actually, no, I knew nothing about the TV and film industry at all. I grew up in Iowa, like in the Midwest.
Okay.
And, I was like sheltered. Like, I didn't know anything about like anything, I think. I don't know how kids do it these days, but I grew up before there was internet.
So we're the same. Not quite when the world was black and white.
Right.
But
like,
before internet.
I know all this shit that they know these days. But I didn't know anything. And then, I left home as soon as I could. I left Iowa as soon as I could because it's just boring there. And, I went to school, I got my bachelor's, my master's, and I got my bachelor's in photography, my master's in music management. And then I was dating a guy and we decided to move out to LA so that he could be a rock star and like I was going to manage him. It turns out he's a chiropractor now in Vegas, happily married. We're still great friends. I think he is still in a band, maybe.
They can never let it go, can they?
Yeah, I know. But when I made my way out here and I did start kind of managing a few bands and I didn't like it. It just wasn't for me. Yeah. And then, I started dating another guy and he was in the acting world and everything. And one day he was like, oh, I'm going to be a director and have this production company and like, you can manage it. And I was like, perfect, because I know nothing about that. And I've never even been on set. And so, Google is my friend and I learned literally everything about production. And then when we went our separate ways, I was like, okay, well, casting is the easiest part of production to me. Like it's the best, like, and everyone likes the casting director. Like everyone's nice to the casting director. And like, that's all I was kind of looking for, I'm like, just be nice to me. Like it's that easy. And so that's how I got into casting. although it's really hard to get into scripted casting unless, you know, you work for like people and, you know, you have to start at the very bottom. And by this point, I'm like, I'm old. Like I can't start at the bottom. Like I have like a house and like, you know, bills and shit. And so I decided to start in reality and unscripted because it was a lot easier to jump in and make more money there. And then in the meantime, I worked on getting scripted shows. And then now I'm more into scripted.
Okay. So you got two guys here who would love to be in something, you know,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
you're more than welcome to cast us in the background of something or whatever.
Yeah.
We fill screens. Well.
You need it. Yeah, we're really well. Us and our small figures and all, you know.
Exactly.
I
You know,
love
and I've done theater, you know, I've actually been a lead, so I can handle all that. But no, I think that's really cool. There's a lot of people out there that are acting, and casting is a whole nother world that like I've never really understood. Could you go through a little of the process for us?
Yeah, I mean, I could never be an actor. Like it's really hard. Like you really need to have that talent, and not only that, like just the drive to like keep going and just take no all the time and just keep going. Like that's, you know, that's tough. But basically, you know, my job is to find the right actor for the project, whether that's finding somebody that, you know, I haven't worked with or somebody that I have, or reaching out to agents and managers. So depending on the different projects, if the producers have someone in mind that they're looking at, that they want in their film, you know, my first object is to check and see if they're available for the filming dates.
Right.
And then if they are, I make an offer to their agent or their manager, if that's like for sure who we're going to go with. And then, you know, depending on negotiations and how well that works out, we kind of go from there. And, you know, if the actor likes the script and all that, you know, if it's like a low budget film or something like that, the process is a little bit different. I'll usually put the breakdowns out and it goes out to all the agents and managers. And then, you know, they come back to me and they're like, hey, we think like these people would be perfect for this role. And I take a look, we do self-tapes, you know, we discuss it with the producers, directors, maybe do another round of self-tapes, callbacks, meetings. You know, things have changed a little bit now with COVID, where we're doing a lot more self-tapes and Zoom meetings. But other than that, that's kind of how it goes. And then, you know, we make our decisions and keep moving.
What's your favorite show that you've cast so far? Like, was there something that was so exciting about it, or was there like an actor that blew you away that you didn't realize was going to do that? Can you kind of tell me some really cool stories about casting?
Gosh, you know, one that I really liked was Paradise City. It came out, I think maybe like a year ago, or maybe less than a year ago. Time is weird now with COVID.
Whatever day it is.
Philip Thorne and
I know, like what day is it? Yeah, I mean, it was a really, really cool series, or is a really cool series, and excited to do the second season, which is hopefully coming up soon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's, you know, the cast is just phenomenal. And while I'd love to take a lot of credit for that, I really can't. The director was, you know, he had everybody in mind that he wanted. You know, he's known throughout, everyone who knows and loves him wants to work with him. So it was really, really easy to cast. You know, I was just calling people like, hey, do you want to do that? And they're like, yeah, sure, of course, for him, you know.
Nice.
So I didn't work super hard on that, to be honest. But I'm really proud of it, and it was really great. And it turned out so well. It's fun. It was fun to watch.
You know what I realized? I like her even more now than I already did. She's my favorite word. Phenomenal.
Oh, she did.
Everybody's got a drink now.
Oh boy.
Twice, because she said phenomenal. So make that 3 times, okay? Kind of an inside joke here and out there, and well, just because I said so. But anyway, that's a different story. I wanted to talk about Strictly Stalking.
Okay.
The reason why is I was curious to know, you kind of go into that true crime podcast of Strictly Stalking. Were you ever had somebody stalk you? I mean, you are down in Southern California, you know, the Night Stalker and all that kind of, you may be too young to remember him.
Well, I know the Night Stalker.
Do you remember?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I've actually never had a stalker, thankfully. And you know, I kind of, we came about doing it in a roundabout way. I called my business partner, Jake Deptula, and he's also my co-host. I called him one day and I was like, hey, because I listen to all the true crime podcasts. I love it. And I called him, I was like, I really want to do a true crime podcast, but like everyone's already doing all the good murders. Like there's none left for me. Like this sucks. And he's like, because I'm very dramatic. So he's very logical. And he's like, okay, well, you know, first of all, there's always new murders happening because that's the world we live in. But second of all, like, why don't you think of something else? Like, why don't you do stalking? Because no one's doing that. And, you know, like, it's completely different. I was like, I don't want to do stalking. Like, I don't even know anything about it. So I hang up on him because I'm very dramatic. And I start thinking about it, what he said, which always happens. Unfortunately, he's often right about these things. So I started thinking, I'm like, so wait, there's a whole crime that I literally don't know anything about. Like no one talks about this like huge crime. And I start researching it. I was like, oh shit, like this is a big deal. Like a lot of people, you know, are really suffering at the hands of stalkers and no one's talking about it. So it kind of came about like that. And then, you know, once we jumped in and started doing the episodes and working on it, like we really changed a lot of things. You know, it really just became more about, you know, creating this awareness, changing the laws, like, you know, and then our involvement just quadrupled because we're like, okay, like this is a real deal. Like we're not, you know, just talking about some murder and not doing anything about it. Now, like we're in a position where like we're advocates and like we have to work and help people and like do stuff about this. So it really just turned itself around like several times and became like this whole new animal.
Okay. Nice. I like it. That's pretty cool. I like how you came about it and how you became advocates for it. I think that is kind of a big thing as well. Like we've had certain shows that we've done that we feel that we've become advocates for those folks as well. Not on a huge scale, but try to do what we can and how we can as well. And I think that that's kind of big for some folks out there, especially folks that, you know, don't have the resources or don't know what they can do to help them in regards to what's going on with stalkers, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you Google stalking and if you're experiencing being stalked by somebody, first of all, it's isolating and terrifying. And I mean, you're being hunted, really.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
really scary and it often ends in murder, to be honest. But if you Google it and you're looking for help, like there's not much that even comes up in the way of getting help. Like I wouldn't have known before I started this. Where do you go? If someone's stalking you, do you really call like 911? Like my stalker left flowers on my door. Like they're gonna laugh and be like, okay, cool. Like they don't know. Like they're not gonna be like, don't call 911 for flowers. You know, they're not gonna help. Like there's a lot that has to go into it because the laws haven't been educated enough. Like the laws haven't, they're not advanced enough to where the stalkers are, you know, and you're also, stalking is like a crime that it's continually happening, but it has to be continually happening to become a crime, if that makes sense. So it's really hard, you know, the burden of proof is on the victim, unfortunately.
Sad.
Yeah. And I bet, how often do you do your podcast? Is it a weekly thing or?
Yeah. Yep. Every Tuesday.
And then sadly, there's a lot of content that you, right? That's the worst part is that you actually have a lot of content to be able to do it. You could probably do it like every day if you had to.
It'd be a lot of work.
Yeah, but there's that much content. It's sad that there's that much true crime in stalking that's going that. Have you been inspired to do anything else from that? Have you, because I've seen obviously with the research in your link tree, there's a lot about domestic abuse and stuff like that. So I see there's inspiration. What do you think that you've really gotten most out of that?
Yeah, I mean, we've really been trying to, you know, make some changes in the laws, things like that. And I mean, we are a little bit, I mean, stalking there's a lot of domestic abuse in stalking. There's a lot of, you know, it could be a stranger, it could be your partner. Like it's kind of all across the board. Like anyone can be stalked, like literally anyone. Like I could go to the bank today and someone in line at the bank could be just somehow triggered and become obsessed with me and start following me. Like that actually happens. And so I mean, we're a little bit, it's a little bit hard to put stalking into one tiny category. So that's why there is, you know, domestic abuse. It's a lot of this, it's a lot of that. So we are kind of all across the board.
Right. Do you feel in more like when you're out and about, do you kind of notice certain things a little bit more? Are you more heightened and alerted to things, or is it okay? Like you don't have that pressure of it going out.
Pay more attention to your surroundings.
That's right.
Yeah. You know, I really don't. Like my business partner, he, like I said, he's like the very logical one and like thinks things through like a lot. And you know, he's like, oh, well, you know, we have to have the 2-factor identification thing for our emails. Or I'm like, dude, whatever, just pick the easiest, you know, password you can think of. And so I'm very like, a lot, you know, I'm like tagging where I am on Instagram, like, oh guys, I just got here 5 minutes ago and I'll stay for the next 3 hours, you know, like I should be more aware and I should think about things like that. But I just like don't, like, I've always been really, really open, like, oh yeah, whatever, you know, so I'm trying to become a little bit more aware. I mean, in certain situations, like I travel a lot and I travel a lot alone. So I am a little bit more like aware in those kinds of situations, but like when I'm hanging out with my friends or whatever, and yeah, I make a lot of questionable decisions in that area where like my and sometimes my business partner, like I'll post something on Instagram and he'll text me like 2 seconds later, like, why are you posting that? You literally just told people exactly your address, where you'll be for the next 3 hours, and what you're wearing and like who you're with. And I'm like, yeah, but who's gonna show, you know? So and I'll change it, take it down, like, oops, sorry, you know.
Well, maybe it changed him a little, you know, and he's protective.
Well, and I think he's always been a little bit like that. Like he's always been like super careful and like thinks everything through and like overthinks it. And I'm more like, you know, let me jump in and see what happens.
Yeah. And you're like, I don't care. All my passwords are 1, 2, 3, 4.
Pretty much. It's terrible. I
they're not.
Throw a 5 in there.
Yeah, right. Here comes the knuckleball, maybe an asterisk. Let's go. All right.
They make you change it. So you have to like add a, you know, an extra letter at the end of something.
Exactly.
Hey,
I love it. Well, you know, you got to live, and you can.
Exactly.
You can't live in fear, right?
Yeah, so, I definitely don't.
Exactly.
I'm
do you have some like things in the future, or do you have some ideas of things that you want to do that are not just what you're doing now?
Yeah, you know, we're starting another podcast shortly. It's in the true crime world as well. And then like me, just personally, I'm actually looking at starting a bikini line because I
would look fabulous in a bikini, by the way.
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen my Instagram, but like I said, I travel a lot and I really, really enjoy tropical places. So my Instagram is a lot of me in bikinis because I like it. So I figure everyone else would too.
You as well.
Right. So I noticed, you know, like I'm spending a phenomenal amount of money on bikinis, and why am I doing that when I can just make my own line and sell them? So
I like it.
I've never made any clothing line or done anything like that. So it's a lot of research, but I'm learning it, and I think I can do it. So
that's awesome. That's fun.
I've been doing lately.
I love that. That's really cool.
Too. I think that's
so. Have you been like studying that, or?
I have. It's weird, right? Like you would think it would be like just go make a bikini. Like I don't even know. Right. But like you gotta have like the patterns and then like the tech pack. Like there's a whole thing. And I found a company in Bali that I really like, that I want to work with. And so I'd like to go back to Bali and see them in person, but we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, you have to think that there's so many beautiful different types of women. And when you design, you have to design that way as well.
Yeah, well, and I really want to make like an all-inclusive line. So not just women, like women, men, trans, any, whatever, like just like something for everyone. You know, all different styles. Like I don't think it should be specific necessarily. So I'm kind of trying to navigate what those designs would look like.
Wow. That's really cool.
I think we should get a what up bikini.
You should get a what up bikini, not me.
You know, I think
I would wear whatever your brand is as a shirt.
Okay.
So I would help you there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I also want to make it something where like, because what I've noticed a lot, especially when I'm traveling, is like I go straight from the beach to a party or dinner or wherever it is. So like, I just want, I don't want to have to go change. And I'm like, I usually live in my bikinis. So I'd rather just like put something on over it that looks cute.
Yeah.
But, you know, especially like if you're, you know, in Ibiza or something, you're just going to be in your bikini the whole time and you want to look cute. So
yeah,
from beach to nightclub.
Yeah, I know you definitely want to look cute in Ibiza.
Oh, absolutely. Of course. Duh.
Places you got to look cute there. So we'll see. I mean, it's the beginning stages. I'm really excited to see if I can do it. And it's a lot of research. So we'll see.
Do you find yourself wanting to write at all? Because you have all these experiences, and not only in your podcast, but in casting, on top of the fact that you also travel. There's a lot of experiences there. Is there some draw there as well?
Yeah, well, actually, we are working currently on a book about the podcast, right? So kind of like a summary of each episode. We've done a little over 100 episodes now. So I think it's just another medium to kind of get the awareness out.
Yeah.
So we're currently working on that. It's taking a little while, but it doesn't to everything.
Yeah, I like. Now, if somebody were to go and say they wanted to look you up, what would be the best way to look Strictly Stalking up? Or Jaimie Beebe.
Well, everyone's on Instagram. So Strictly Stalking is on Instagram at Strictly Stalking Pod, POD. My Instagram is FeatherGirl77. And other than that, like you could just Google, I guess.
Sounds good.
We'll have all the links in for you too.
We're trying to cheat a little bit here so we can put them all down there. You know, go figure.
Got it.
We try.
Yeah. Jaimie, you're amazing. I'm excited to see all the stuff. I'm going to start listening to the podcast on a regular basis.
Oh,
absolutely.
Hopefully I'll comment and like and share and help you out, because I just think you're an amazing person, what you're doing. And we're just blessed to have had you on our show.
3 great things that have come out of Iowa.
Right.
Corn, Slipknot, and Jaimie Beebe, folks.
Oh, wow.
Gotta love it.
I love it. Thank you, Jaimie.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you real soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What up, folks?